airports to enforce the new entry test requirements that went into effect on November 4th.
You should not land if you do not have proof of a negative test upon landing. You're supposed to take
airports to enforce the new entry test requirements that went into effect on November 4th.
You should not land if you do not have proof of a negative test upon landing. You're supposed to take
airports to enforce the new entry test requirements that went into effect on November 4th.
You should not land if you do not have proof of a negative test upon landing. You're supposed to take
It was 7 o'clock when the show began and tickets were free. An electrical storm peppering our skyline, York's first, then the suburbs. $400,000 bolts unleashed in the space of 24 hours. It was dazzling, but it was also dangerous. At Largs North, a massive strike set this palm tree ablaze.
That's crazy. That's really on fire hard now, that tree.
Another was in the firing line at West Croydon. Uni student Edmund Claridge Bell captured the tree exploding from his veranda.
It was kind of crazy. Like, in the moment, it was so kind of intense that I didn't really see it happen, so I only saw it through the video myself.
Trees are wearing the scars today. Homes too. Moonta copped a hammering.
Next thing there was this big massive bang and there's a roof in front of me.
Monster gusts ripped roofs from houses and uprooted trees that have stood for decades. This water tank was sent catapulting. Residents say they're lucky to be alive.
I'm glad I believe in God. He saved me.
The brave gathered at lookouts, but most bunkered inside. Even then, some got the fright of their life. Almost 140 fires were sparked across SA, burning fields and paddocks. This was at Northgate, one of 450 call-outs.
Walked outside and then saw the tree had split and fallen onto the two cars.
It was a pilot's nightmare, but a photographer's dream. From Port Gawler to Para Hills West, Craigmore to Kangarilla, there were few areas not treated to a show. This spidery display was captured at Modbury Heights, these at Port Noarlunga. The beach was a popular spot, but you needed to be a pro to snap something like this. Elspeth Hussey, 7 News.
Let's go live now to Amelia. And just how unusual was last night's Sky Show, Amelia?
Jane, spring is known for its tumultuous weather, but generally thunderstorms occur overnight. So for us to witness such a display is out of the ordinary. But what makes last night's event rare is the sustained nature of the storms. We saw them right across SA, right through till morning. Of course, weather watchers flocked to spots like Mount Lofty here, and it drew the kind of crowd that you'd really see when there's snow. Of the 400,000 lightning strikes, well, 100,000 of those hit the ground. The storms were classified as severe, producing winds up to 120 k's an hour in our northern suburbs. We saw sudden hits of rain, and on York Peninsula, they had hail. Now, tonight, it's a very different view of the city here.
This is not a test. This is an emergency broadcast transmission.
We're going to stay on the air for as long as possible.
We're seeing heavily armed forces being deployed.
Every man make himself and his country proud. Be brave. Be brave. Be brave.
What we just witnessed
massive casualties in Moscow, Paris. We've lost communications with Tokyo, Rio, and New York.
Sodom has become corrupt, a city of sin.
But my nephew Lot lives there. He has a family.
The outcry against Sodom is great. Its sins are very grave.
Going to destroy it.
In Sodom, will they suffer the same fate as the wicked?
We will test them. If my angels find 50 righteous people in Sodom, I will spare the whole city.
Please, help us. Fewer, 30, 20. You would not destroy them, surely.
Even if I find only 10, I will save the whole city.
of us about to die. We salute.
Meredith Lockwood and Sarah Morales have their 2 years together captured in snapshots. And this weekend,
feeling good. It's kind of the whirlwind, but a good way.
their album will add a wedding with less than a week's notice.
Anxious, excited. It's all happening so quickly.
They're part of the Marriage-a-thon for LGBTQ+ couples in Portland.
Officiants, we have photographers, we have florists, we have a DJ.
Jamie Carl specializes in weddings not always represented in the mainstream.
Seeing people as people.
She's one of the officiants this weekend, helping organize the Marriage-a-thon with keen events after reading an article.
From USA Today, and it was Supreme Court justices set stage to end marriage equality. Just the fact that the potential is there means that a lot of couples are worried.
Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito have suggested marriage equality, passed by the Supreme Court in 2015, should be overturned. With the confirmation of conservative Justice Amy Coney Barrett, some are concerned suggestions could become reality.
We should have the ability to marry who we love, just like anybody else.
On Sunday, couples will be married, spaced out in a huge venue throughout the day, following Oregon's strict COVID-19 guidelines. Family and friends can't even be there. Why get married this way?
I need to jump on this because it's a good way to do this and kind of protect our rights.
Rights to visit your spouse in the hospital, insurance, or adoption.
Love and celebration.
Emily Sterling will also officiate some of the weddings.
We kind of pulled this together in, I think, a week and a half or so. It's blossomed into this beautiful event of tons of different vendors coming together to create what I think is going to be a really special day.
I think we as queer people tend to struggle with this because it's a difficult thing no matter what. But to those people who are not supportive, what would you say?
You know, if you can see marriage as something so sacred and special between two people, then you should understand the gravity of not being able to have that, no matter who you are.
Just days before the impromptu wedding day, LGBTQ couples traveled Oregon to get their licenses and send a message. I had to remind myself that our identities are not political.
Right, right. I feel like I have a responsibility to educate and to be me in every way.
Meredith and Sarah
She means the world to me. I'm grateful to be going on this journey with her.
hope their journey can uplift others.
Every love is beautiful and that they should feel confident and proud of who they are.
A new snapshot, bringing them closer together.
From Oconto,
I'm
Brown,
Galen
and Door
Edlund
counties
for
have
KGW
filed a
News.
federal lawsuit to stop the certification of Wisconsin vote results. The three claim that their votes were diluted with illegal ballots, mainly ballots that were mailed. The lawsuit doesn't appear to provide any actual evidence of voter fraud, but includes claims from people who said they received ballots they didn't ask for, received multiple ballots, or were told they voted in person that they'd requested a ballot by mail. They want all votes in Menominee, Milwaukee, and Dane counties invalidated because those counties had large numbers of mail-in ballots.
Down in Milwaukee. Lovely Sarah Tamer joins us live from Serb Hall. So Sarah, what can you tell us about what happened?
Well, Ben, what I can tell you is that the Republican Party of Milwaukee County actually worked with Serb Hall to help put this rally on, but that's when things got out of control. Take a listen. Now, the general manager at Serb Hall tells me they did what they could to keep people spread apart. He said they socially distanced 450 tables and chairs, but when people weren't complying with the rules, the manager ended the event early. That's when he says he was attacked by some of the people there.
One gentleman rushed me and pushed me and twisted the microphone out of my hands, and then as he was moving away, pushed me again, and so I attempted to get the microphone back and grabbed him, and at that point, a number of people in the crowd pushed me to the ground and started kicking me.
Sarah Tamer live with us here once again. Sarah, did police make any arrests?
Well, Bend police say they arrested one person, though they didn't say why. Now, something to note, the manager here at Serb Hall says he's actually more upset with the city because 2 city inspectors came in and told him he could face up to 3 fines.
And first up at 6 tonight, our big story. A shooting rocks the small town of Plymouth. A high school student has died, a younger sibling is in critical condition tonight, and their mother is being charged with murder. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kevin Hogan. Police have determined that 43-year-old Naomi Bell is the one who shot both of these children. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Elliot Polikoff is joining us now live from Plymouth with more on what we currently know. Elliot.
Yeah, Kevin, there are still so many unanswered questions surrounding what happened last night here in Plymouth. What we do currently know is that one of Naomi Bell's children is deceased, another currently in critical condition. And from talking to one of her neighbors, we also know that Plymouth is usually a pretty quiet place, and things like this just don't usually happen here.
It's not real to me. Still not real.
Taylor Wells lives next door to the Bell family. He doesn't know his neighbors well, but in his mind, they're good people.
You know, I've seen these kids around, and the family was really nice. The dad and the woman, they were both very nice. They always made small conversations. She was always walking her dog.
How people like that could be involved in something like this, it's hard for Taylor to put together.
I'm really hoping that the reports are not true. That's all I've been doing all night, just hoping that none of it is true. Everybody's okay. And, you know, how did I not hear this? How did I not? But I don't think anybody else did. I kept asking around, did you hear something? And they were talking about the firecrackers or something that sounded like gunshots 2 nights ago.
The incident may have been out of earshot, but the images that followed, they're still fresh in Taylor's memory.
We saw them carry, I guess, the girl. Good. And, you know, they strapped her in. She was moving. So, you know, and now I'm hearing it was her. And that's really killing me.
I want to clarify that the state police have not released any additional details surrounding the deceased sibling beyond saying that that sibling was the older sibling. Today, a letter from Plymouth Interim Superintendent of Schools Sherry Turner saying that that older sibling attended Terryville High School while the younger sibling attended Fisher Elementary School. There was also a third sibling who attended Eli Terry Middle School, but that sibling was not at the home when the shootings occurred. There will be a virtual candlelight vigil happening tomorrow at 4 p.m. It'll be live streamed via the Terryville Congregational Church. Of course, when we get any new information surrounding these shootings, we will let you know immediately. But for now, live in Plymouth, Elliot Polikoff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
8 months since coronavirus lockdowns began, and its long-term effects are still unknown. But there's one thing we do know: the harsh impact it's already had on many small businesses. Abby Schinderly joins us now with why a Madison brew pub is being forced to close for good.
This time a year ago, Nate Warnicki never thought that when he announced Last Call tonight, it would be for the very last time. But the pandemic had other plans for him.
You know, it's going to be a very emotional moment.
Customers and employees said goodbye to Rockhound Brewing Company today. The Madison Brew Pub is permanently closing its doors for in-house dining after being hit by the harsh effects of the pandemic.
I didn't envision it all being, you know, in such an abrupt, crazy, what the heck just happened to the world kind of way.
Unfortunately, Rockhound's story is not one that's entirely unique. Warnicki had a message for the several other local businesses that are also calling it quits.
It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. In a lot of our cases, you couldn't have seen it coming. We didn't know what was coming or what was going to happen.
Founded in 2016, Rockhound was born when Warnicki decided that he wanted to create a community behind a local business.
And I thought it'd be fun to build a relatively small and vibrant brew pub in my own neighborhood. I live 6 blocks away.
Many loyal customers stopped by today to say their goodbyes to employees and drink their favorite special brews one last time.
It's meant a lot to them. I've gotten an amazing amount of emails and a couple of phone calls and text messages and even people stopping by just saying, you know, that we're sorry to see it go. And it's definitely a bit of a sad moment.
Employees say that they hope customers remember how Rockhound was a family business and did things from the heart.
There were a lot of folks where we knew their names, and they really appreciated that, knowing that we actually knew who they were and that we actually cared.
Rockhound Brewing Company will continue to sell beers available for pickup on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays while supplies last.
Meanwhile, New Mexicans went out in droves to grocery stores across the city before the governor's renewed lockdowns go into effect. This was the scene at Smith's near Central and Coors, where shoppers waited in long lines to get groceries. A similar scene at the Walmart and Sam's Club off of Eubank, where the lines extended around the building, and at Best Buy, where shoppers took advantage of the last few days before the lockdown goes into effect for some last-minute electronics. Shoppers had mixed feelings about the new orders.
It's terrible, but I know it's necessary because of this pandemic, and we're not getting a hold of it.
Similar to the start of the pandemic, shoppers are clearing store aisles of many products, including toilet paper, frozen food, and meat.
KCTV5 stands for you, and we want to know what you think about the recommendations from health experts. Our Nathan Vickers shows us what some people are doing to stay safe as numbers surge.
Shopping on the plaza this Christmas. You'll find most people out and about keep their mask on even when they're not in a store.
It's something we have to do to be smart about it. All we can kind of do is try our best and stay safe.
The hardest part is, just really not being able to go out and really socialize too much.
As cases rise, some know there could be more social distancing measures ahead.
Am I in favor of another lockdown? No. But we're going in that direction unless people start adhering.
But doctors believe masks aren't the only part of this equation, and that we may need to do more to limit crowd sizes. They don't just kind of pull these restrictions out of a hat. In my opinion, they really kind of take into account a lot of really educated opinions.
Part of the guidelines released today calls specifically for limiting crowd sizes at events, including youth sporting events like high school football games.
I get it, sports are, it's a big part of life, but it'll happen again. I just think we have to be patient.
It's probably hard is to not go to your, son or daughter's game, but I think that's kind of the downside that people have to accept.
But some people feel like a better approach could be stricter enforcement of the rules already in place.
If we do that, I think we'll curtail a lot of this increased activity.
Our actions over the next few weeks could determine what happens over the rest of the holidays.
Continue to practice social distancing, I feel like is probably the core of it.
And in a few weeks, both football and Christmas shopping could look much different still. In Kansas City, Nathan Vickers, KCTV5 News.
Many residents in Kent County are speaking out after a spike in the recent water bill. Good evening, I'm Chelsea Jones. Now Kent County legislators are demanding answers and asking the Water Authority to fix it. 12 News reporter Brittany Schaefer joining us now live in West Warwick with what residents are saying tonight. Brittany?
Well, Chelsea management here at Centerville Condos say they almost fell out of their chair when they saw the 500% increase in their water bill. They say what's even worse is this is all happening during the pandemic. Catherine DeCaro was shocked to see the added splash in the Centerville Condos third quarter water bill, the amount due quadrupling.
It went from $600 to $3,600, plus the $500 assessment for the two fire hydrants.
The bill cycle in question is from August through October. DeCaro moved into the West Warwick condo in January. She says she contacted the Kent County Water Authority for answers, but they told her if she didn't pay, the condo association's water would be turned off.
And they told us that it was either we had a leak, or it was because of the summer months, or it was because of a problem with the meter. It just almost is inconceivable that this bill went up 500%.
The Kent County Water Authority keeps blaming the customer, the ratepayer, that you have a leak, that you use too much water during COVID, drought.
And DeCaro is not the only one affected. Senator Leonidas Raptakis, along with other Kent County lawmakers, say they have heard from numerous constituents, including people in Coventry, West Greenwich, Scituate, Warwick, and Cranston, with the same issue. Raptakis says the Water Authority has only sent out 1/3 of their third quarter bills, and this problem will explode when everyone else is charged.
The customer service is absolutely number one poor. They blame the ratepayer, and they don't take the blame upon saying maybe we have an internal issue, maybe we have a problem with the meters. So we're going to wait and see. If not, General Assembly is going to be going back in January.
And I did reach out to the Kent County Water Authority, but have not heard back for comment. Raptakis says anyone affected needs to dispute the bill. Live in Warwick tonight, I'm Brittany Schaefer, 12 News.
Well, with the increase in COVID cases, Banner Health hospitals in northern Colorado moving now to a no visitor policy. They say to keep staff and patients safe. CBS 4's Karen Morfitt is live in Loveland tonight. And Karen, there are a few exceptions to this change.
Kathy, there are 3. Anyone under the age of 18, women in labor, and those with physical or cognitive disabilities or limitations can have 1 visitor. Other patients are on their own. In an effort to protect their staff and patients from COVID, Banner Health is tightening visitor restrictions, which for some is a tough pill to swallow.
As of Monday, they said no visitors at all. And I can't imagine a 92-year-old woman who's already so confused not being able to see her family. It's going to destroy her.
Tanya Henry's grandmother was admitted into Banner McKee Medical Center in Loveland last week. She's been by her side every day since, which she says is needed right now.
I can't imagine her sitting someplace lonely, not knowing what's going on and why nobody's coming to see her.
The tighter restrictions go beyond hospital visits. It includes clinics, urgent cares, imaging and surgery centers, as well as occupational health services. In a statement, Banner Health says, "We understand this will be challenging, but we're committed to take the necessary precautions to protect our patients, healthcare workers, and the community." Some we spoke with say it's difficult, but they understand the why behind it. Others say it will make them think twice about seeking treatment.
I wouldn't even want to go in.
Henry says she's worried about the unintended consequences.
They don't have a backup plan for this. They're just going to cut everybody off and let's see what happens. It's like a stupid experiment.
Now, we did check, and UC Health and Health One also have visitor restrictions. They allow 1 visitor per day. SC Health has 1 hospital on the western slope, St. Mary's in Grand Junction, that is also under a no visitor policy. But as far as their metro area hospitals go, they have not made any changes. For now, we're live in Loveland.
On WCNC Charlotte. A SWAT standoff at a tire business in Concord ended with 1 arrest and an employee dead. This all started at a discount tire on Dickens Place, and gunshots rang out, and only some employees were able to get out of the building. Just before 4, an arrest was made, and police have just announced that an employee was killed. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us at 6. I'm Lana Harris. Now let's get straight out to Lexi Wilson. She joins us live with the latest on this breaking story. Lexi, what is the scene like now?
Well, Lana, the scene has died down, but there is still a small police presence. Take a look as officers are investigating the shooting that happened here at Discount Tire. Now, we did speak to police who say an employee was found dead and a suspect is now in custody. The standoff between police and the suspect lasted several hours. Take a look at this video. Around 11 this morning, Concord police and the SWAT team responded to a possible shooter at Discount Tire on Dickens Place. There were original reports of an argument. After more than 4 hours of communication and negotiations, the suspect was taken into custody. No force was used from police officers. After the suspect was taken into custody, police found an employee dead inside the store.
They found 1 employee of Discount Tire deceased with a gunshot wound. It's obvious that the person had been deceased for some time. We don't know the suspect's information to provide that to you today. We're still working to try to confirm exactly who he is.
And police say the suspect was taken to the hospital for another medical event not related to this incident. And they right now are not identifying the victim, as they are still notifying family. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story and bring you the latest. Reporting live in Concord for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Lexi Wilson. Lana, back to you.
Terrible news there, Lexi. Thank you.
A brand new food hall in downtown Albuquerque is open for business. 505 Central Food Hall downtown held its grand opening today. The 13,000 square foot building houses 9 different locally owned vendors, including a cafe, bar, ramen shop, and even an oyster bar. However, in light of the governor's renewed lockdown measures going into effect on Monday, 505 Central will have to close down its indoor dining on Monday. Owner Mark Baker, however, says all of that hard work won't go to waste.
It's bittersweet. We're excited. We have a lot of great mom and pop vendors in here who've been working tirelessly for a year to get their restaurants open. So we're going to do the best we can with the situation that we've been given.
Baker says that although today's grand opening will be short-lived, 505 Central will be focusing on its takeout and curbside delivery options until the lockdown.
To geodesic domes to unique things you'd probably never seen before, local businesses are trying to not only keep their customers safe, but create an environment that can help people transcend their daily stresses. Temps are going down, holiday lights are going up. Unfortunately, COVID cases are too, and local businesses need to find ways to stay both physically and financially healthy. In Northville, Deadwood Bar and Grill is alive with socially distanced Christmas spirit. Geodesic sphere dining domes transport you to a place where the North Pole and Grandma's house collide, complete with carpeted floors and chandeliers. Then in downtown Northville, they shut down the streets so you'll roam around. Nope. Scratch that. I did mean gnome, because they're going to be everywhere.
And then we're going to do a scavenger hunt of those gnomes. So that should keep the kids interested and coming out in the cold, hopefully.
Along with gnomes, Northville is bringing heat to these streets, adding at least 16 open-air heated structures.
The pods are 8x8 or 8x16, so they have standing height tables or lower tables for about 4 to 6 people in groups.
Some for restaurants, some for people to hang out.
It's like a park-like atmosphere. People can go to eat, then come to the store and buy things, hopefully.
I think it'll be a great opportunity to give us business throughout the winter, especially during those cold months.
While other cities like Royal Oak allow businesses to utilize street parking to set up tents so they can accommodate more diners while still maintaining social distance. For a small business owner surviving this pandemic, is taking as much creativity as disinfectant. Whether hanging out in an outdoor tent or cozying up to a heat lamp on a patio or enjoying the night at home, for all of us, it's about finding the best balance between safety and sanity. And for our small business owners, paying the bills. I'm Jennifer Ann Wilson.
From the snow in the mountains to the incredible wind in the metro area, our Michael Abeda is tracking the weather for us. Michael?
Yeah, Kathy, I'm here along Highway 93 between Golden and Boulder searching for strong wind gusts, but could well be anywhere in the metro area because that's been the story today from here in Arvada all the way down to Aurora. But it was in the foothills in the mountains where that wind combined with ice and snow that created a huge headache for CDOT crews. This is video shot by photojournalist Robert Sanchez of a traffic nightmare on I-70 near Georgetown earlier today. Those icy conditions had travelers struggling with the road and desperate to get their chains put on their tires. The backup that was caused there earlier today seemed to stem from a big rig that was having trouble getting up a hill. But as we know, that highway in the winter is always a challenge. And I talked to a weather chaser here today who was up there, and he said everything should be okay as long as you just take it slow.
Driving on the roads up in the mountains today, that was pretty dicey in some areas. But if a minivan can do it, anybody can really do it. Just take it slow and, don't be fast. Don't be an idiot about it.
So if the mountains are on your travel itinerary tonight, it's wise to take it slow, probably even wiser to just stay home and postpone your trip if you can. In Arvada, Michael Aveta, covering Colorado.
After heavy rains and floods impacted much of North Carolina this week, the water is starting to recede. CBS 17's Imani Payne joins us live in Wilson County. That area has had its fair share of problems. How are things looking now?
Yeah, a much calmer scene here tonight. However, the impact from flooding still visible. Several roads around town are still closed because of standing water. Now, people in town tell me they got a lot of rain here earlier this week and say the flooding got so bad they weren't able to leave their homes at some points. They say this area floods frequently during bad storms or hurricanes, but say they haven't seen it get this bad in a long time.
It was kind of hard to get out of town.
I had to go around the long way to go through Wilson just to get to Goldsboro because of the water. It makes it, you know, when the water's standing in the road, the best thing I can do is just say, do not go through it. I mean, and if you ain't got to go nowhere, just stay home.
Luckily, we're told no one here was injured during the flooding and everyone's homes are okay. For now, we're live in Stansburg. Imani Payne, CBS 17 News.
The surge in cases means a growing demand for COVID tests. For the last 3 days, the Missouri National Guard manned a drive-through testing site on the parking lot of the Family Arena in St. Charles. More than 1,200 people signed up for the free tests.
So you just go on the Department of Health and Senior Services website to register. It takes about 5 minutes to register, and they give you a time slot and day. And you come through and they check your registration, they verify your information, and once that's done, they bring you on to the testing.
Now, testing in St. Charles wrapped up today, but the National Guard will be setting up free testing at 3 different locations in St. Louis County starting on Tuesday, November 17th. You can find out more information and sign up to get a free test on the Missouri Health Department website. We do have a link for you at KMOV.
The audit has begun about 2 hours ago. Both DeKalb and Fulton counties joined in on a historic hand count that is now underway. Mara Sirianni joins us live from the World Congress Center, where Fulton County is retallying all of the ballots. And Mara, the county expecting to count more than 500,000 votes before next week's deadline.
You nailed it. That is a daunting task. They have more than 528,000 votes to retally here in Fulton County. So as you mentioned, we're here at the Georgia World Congress Center. Take a look behind me. This room is packed. They have about 300 workers. Again, this process started around 7 o'clock this morning, and each party has invited to send designated monitors. Members of the public, I want to mention, are also able to watch. And the retally is already underway in some other metro Atlanta counties. So let's show you some video of the process in Gwinnett. They started around 10 o'clock yesterday morning with more than 416,000 ballots to audit. In Cobb County, close to 400,000 ballots are being tallied for the second time. DeKalb had workers, as you mentioned, Christy, start at 7 o'clock this morning as well. They have 370,000 votes to retally. Some other smaller counties in Georgia report they will likely wrap up before that Wednesday deadline. But remember, Georgia has 5 million votes to count. This is a really tall order for these guys out here who are counting. Some of them poll workers, some of them are paid workers. But again, the process here in Fulton County is underway now. They are expected to have an update for us and a press conference at 10 o'clock. So we'll let you know what happens there, but they're underway.
All right, Mara, thank you for that update. You mentioned that the public can watch, and there is a live stream if you'd like to watch that counting process. I just tweeted it out on my Twitter page. It is
the Galley Hatch in Hampton is offering a spin on outdoor dining igloos that seat one party at a time. They say when it comes to safety, there are windows and a door that can remain open for airflow, and there is an extensive sanitation process in between parties.
All of the walls, interior, they're sprayed down, they're wiped down, the chairs, the tables, tablecloths are replaced. We have blankets in there for people to keep warm. Those are washed in between parties as well.
And people are urged to make a reservation ahead of time for one of those igloos.
It has been a week since Joe Biden was declared the winner of the presidential election, but pro-Trump supporters are still saying it's not over. They took to the streets in a number of American cities today, including outside the Capitol in Salem, to voice their opinions. Welcome to KOIN 6 News at 6 o'clock. I'm Wayne Haverly here in Oregon. Those Trump supporters gathered at on the steps of the state capitol in Salem. And KOIN 6's Jennifer Dowling, she is live now. She joins us with some of the details on that rally and what went on there today. Good evening, Jennifer.
Good evening, Wayne. There were around 100 and 200 people while our cameras were rolling there. Take a listen to the sights and sounds of that rally. And photojournalist Robbie Sherman spoke with participants at the rally this afternoon. Many told him they don't believe the election results that have named Joe Biden as president-elect. Their comments echoed that of those gathered in Washington, D.C. today at a different rally.
Once they went to mail-in ballots for everybody, I think it pretty much made it that we don't have a voice anymore. Those of us who are Republicans, our voice is squashed.
Yeah, I think the evidence will be presented to the courts, everything from both sides, and and I know that judges are there for a reason. They've been appointed legally, so I think they know what's best.
I want to say that we love President Trump, and this is Trump's America. This is Trump's America. Awesome.
I'm out here today to exercise my First Amendment right of free speech. I'm out here to go through and protest that we got fraud in this country. Yes. But we got to educate ourselves. We got to not be afraid. We walk by our faith as the foundation of this country was founded.
And many at today's rally and protest in Salem said they wanted the legal fight to continue. Trump supporters also expressing concerns about what they say they believe is socialism and communism in America. And there were several people dressed in Proud Boys shirts and waving Proud Boys flags at the protest today. At one point, people were taking pictures next to an elk statue that appears to be the same one that was created during the Black Lives Matter rallies. It disappeared from Portland several weeks ago. The rally wrapped up this afternoon without incident while we were there. Back to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Meanwhile, the Federal Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, that's part of Homeland Security, says there is no evidence of lost, deleted, or changed votes in this election. Top election officials in highly contested states have also responded to claims of fraud.
We've seen absolutely no evidence of it. And in fact, neither have the lawyers representing either the Republican Party or Donald Trump's campaign.
Different tomorrow and be held virtually. The Diocese of Sacramento is asking pastors to provide virtual masses in Purple Tier County. So Bishop Jaime Soto says masses will no longer allow more than 10 people to be present unless they're held outside.
Tonight, Tropical Storm Eta is not just a memory for far too many people around the Bay Area. In fact, the storm's floodwaters left disasters sort of everywhere, and a lot of people and businesses are dealing with this. People are picking it up, and businesses, well, they're seeing a boom. 8 on your side's Justin Shecker joining us now live from Shore Acres over in St. Petersburg with more on that. Justin.
Rod, good evening to you. From outside this home, you can see the water line reached more than a foot high. The couple that just moved into this house called in some professional help today as they try to salvage what they can after Tropical Storm Eta.
And they were kind of talking about the idea of it being a tropical storm relative to a hurricane. I think everybody in this neighborhood kind of felt a bit of a sigh of relief.
But 3 days later, the cleanup continues for Manny Rubin and his girlfriend in their new Shore Acres home of 6 weeks.
It really just made a kind of a river of brown water all throughout our first floor here.
Rubin says after the street flooded by the afternoon on Wednesday, they watched the water rise quickly into the night, especially after high tide.
The last 2 days, just trying to, use dry vacs and sump pumps to get all the moisture out of there. Been bleaching the walls, been on our hands and knees with scrub brushes and sponges.
Rubin says he's hoping this heavy-duty humidifier from Dry Right of Tampa will help prevent mold.
Whatever water it picks up goes into the tank, drains out.
Augustin Guerrero says business is booming since the Bay Area felt the impact of Tropical Storm Eta.
Yeah, we're out here to help. Yes, money's out there, but we're doing it to help out people too.
For Rubin and his girlfriend, it's hard putting a price tag on everything damaged in the flooding. He says some items have sentimental value.
She had a lot of memories in there too, a lot of boxes of photos that we had stacked on other furniture thinking the water level would not reach that high and ended up knocking it over, and so we're just trying to dry it out. Hopefully those things can kind of survive all this.
And back here live in Shore Acres, looking at the floor mats from the couple's cars. Now, Rubin told me 2 of them are total losses because of saltwater damage. They're still waiting for this one to be towed away. Live in St. Petersburg, I'm Justin Shecker. 8.
Meanwhile, through the Federal Pharmacy Partnership Strategy for COVID-19 vaccine, Albertsons, Vons, and Pavilion pharmacies will receive a direct allocation of COVID-19 vaccines once it is authorized or approved for use in the United States. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services made the announcement early on Friday, and the vaccine will be administered at no cost. And once the COVID-19 vaccine is available, recipients will find contactless consent forms for the vaccine in the Albertsons, Vons, and Pavilion pharmacy app.
Minnesota's leaders want all Minnesotans between the ages of 18 and 35 to get tested for COVID-19. MDH says it doesn't matter if they have symptoms or a known exposure to a positive person. It's still a good idea, especially if they're visiting friends and family over Thanksgiving. WCCO's Aaron Asanzada spoke to some people in that age bracket about their recent testing experiences.
I told her I'm fairly certain I'm positive because my roommate has this. So she was like, we're going to get a really good swab. She did both sides of my nose.
Katie Duncan is a first-year med student at the University of Minnesota. After testing on campus, Duncan found out she was positive for COVID-19 about a week and a half ago.
I know probably at least like 5 people in my like broader circle of friends my age, I'm 24, that have tested positive.
Data from the U of M shows a spike in cases since Halloween. This semester's average positivity rate among students and staff was 10.2%, but this week's was nearly double that, just shy of 20%.
We were exposed to 4 people who tested positive for COVID subsequently after we were with them. We were outside.
25-year-old 𝐒𝐈𝐌 got a negative result after getting tested Tuesday at the Minneapolis Convention Center. She had to schedule 3 days before, but got her results within a day.
We still obviously wanted to do the right thing. We quarantined until we got the test results.
𝐈𝐌 was able to work from home during quarantine. 29-year-old Jane Shamaluev was able to do the same after a COVID exposure.
And I looked at Walgreens and everything was booked out pretty much 4 or 5 days out.
Because of those waits, Shamaluev scheduled the test with a private practice.
Depending on where you go, it can take a little while to get the results back.
That lag time is especially troublesome for people who can't work from home or people who live with older family members or vulnerable people.
I was living at home with my parents at the time, so I was very frantic to quick get a test, and I was just kind of looking for wherever had the quickest, the soonest availabilities.
After finding out friends were positive, 23-year-old Marco Manetti drove 35 minutes to the Fridley Walgreens for his test.
I had to schedule a few days in advance for both. They didn't have available testing day of.
Many say they're not just getting tested, they're changing their lifestyles, and they're noticing others doing it too.
I'm certainly not leaving unless I really have to.
Most of my friends now, we aren't really getting together anymore. I mean, since we can't, especially outside.
I think, there is a cutting back from going out and stuff.
I think people are being a lot more cautious, which is good.
Erin Hassanzadeh, WCCO 4 News.
The state is expanding testing options. You can now order an at-home test that will be shipped to you. Since opening that option on Thursday, MDH says 23,000 kits have been ordered. You can find a link to testing options at WCCO.com/links.
Local leaders are on high alert as coronavirus cases here in Arizona continue to spike. This morning, State Farm Stadium is conducting coronavirus testing, and Jessica Parsons is here with us this morning with all the details. Jess, good morning.
Good morning to you. So I've got my QR code right here. So this is what you're going to get when you register online. The line has already started to form this morning. So they're expecting about 1,500 people out here. And they've had weekends. I mean, they're doing this every weekend almost. And they've had weekends where 2,000 people have come out. Now, if you're not pre-registered online, you can come and they'll help you register, but it goes a lot quicker. So this is the test right here. And for some reason, Bree, help me out here, you have to spit inside the straw. Talk us through that while I get extra spit going.
Yeah, so you stick the straw into the tube, and the straw allows you to get your saliva into the tube that we need the sample from.
And I've been doing this for about 10 minutes to try to get it going. And you said there's a real difference between actual saliva and bubbles.
And bubbles, yeah. So a lot of people do produce bubbles, so we have a minimum and a maximum line on the tube, as you can see. We need at least between the minimum and maximum line of your actual saliva, in addition to the bubbles. So,
and they said they don't want you chewing gum 30 minutes before, vaping, smoking, no eating, and nothing
no water,
to drink.
Nothing to eat, drink, smoke, vape, or chew 30 minutes before.
That makes it a little tougher because your mouth is starting to feel dry. It already is dry, so you're not supposed to have water. And
yeah, so we encourage prehydration before the 30 minutes start.
I think that's, they want to get a really good sample, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to make sure that we have enough of your actual saliva. So as you can see, you've got bubbles in here. So this way, the minimum and maximum allows us to ensure that we have enough of your saliva to sample.
Do I have enough? Is this good?
You do. You are good to go.
Okay, I am good to go.
So go ahead and put your cap on it.
Oh,
and then our clinicians at this next tent will collect your sample.
Okay, excuse me. So the cap is on, and I only took my mask off for the test, so I'm going to put my mask back on so I can deliver this. The friendly people at the
front of the line, they are going to take my sample.
Yep, you'll need your QR code
And I
your
give them
sample.
this code, and then we're ready to go. And then we should be able to get our test in
24 to 48 hours.
48 hours. Well, hello there. Will you be taking my sample today?
I'll take your sample.
Thank you so much.
Take your birthday.
And you're checking my birthday. You're checking all my online statistics, and that everything looks good. Yes, that is it. Look at that, you guys. It's that simple. It's that easy.
Others didn't. But many said that if they didn't have to fly today, they wouldn't. And when it comes to their Thanksgiving plans, well, those are going to look a lot different.
I haven't seen my family since last holiday season, so, I'm just trying to be responsible.
Brian Jones isn't too worried about flying to Virginia as the coronavirus pandemic worsens nationwide. An uptick in cases forced Governor Gavin Newsom to issue a travel advisory yesterday, urging people to avoid non-essential out-of-state travel. Timur Bekbasunov says although he preferred not to be flying right now, he had no choice but to go to Kansas for his dad's surgery.
I'm trying to observe all the precautions that are required by governmental officials, but my dad's surgery at his age of 78 was happening, and so he wanted me to be there with him, and I decided to take a chance and travel.
Under the advisory, people traveling into the state are urged to self-quarantine for 14 days. The new rule comes as California surpassed a whopping 1 million COVID-19 cases.
With the self-quarantine for 14 days, it should really be limited to interactions with their immediate household and not mixing with households that they've come to California to visit.
Health officials say while it may be tempting to go visit family and friends for Thanksgiving, they recommend people stay local and not gather in groups. Folks we spoke with say although disappointed, they've changed their holiday plans to do their part in helping keep others safe.
Usually we get together with friends and try to have dinner together, but unfortunately this time we're going to try to do it separately using virtual tools and all of those things.
When I come back here, I kind of just made sure I set up my room and got everything ready to go, because I live with people, so I'm not trying to get anyone sick. That's like the last thing I want to do.
Again, the governor's advisory is just a recommendation. Officials are not going to be tracking travelers, but everyone that we spoke with said that they're going to do their part to try and keep others safe. Live at LAX, Candace Crone, CBS.
Matthew 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Shall send his angels with a great sound of the trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass, till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in to marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.